Well, the Hummer, I believe, is more of a status symbol where, you know, look at me, I can afford a Hummer, I'm driving the best. It's going to get somewhere around 10 miles per gallon constant on the road. That's either highway or city driving. 6.0 liter, 325 horsepower with 380 foot-pounds of torque.
Well, we are a role model whether we like it or not. We use 25% of the world's oil. We're only one person in 22. We have only 2% of the known reserves of oil.
We are profligate users of energy, but we will go on doing that so long as we're rich and the energy is cheap. We pay more for bottled drinking water than we do for gasoline. Gasoline is just about the cheapest liquid you can buy in the United States, and as long as that's true, Americans are not going to be concerned.
For service that is tops and gas that's extra fine, there's a smile for every mile at the SO sign. E-S-S-O makes your car go. Happy motoring.
In America, we right now think that people are having their eyes gouged out, paying $3.20 for a gallon of gasoline. That's 20 cents a cup. And 20 cents a cup sounds pretty trivial, but if you have a passenger car, average American passenger car, you can get 1 to 6 people in it, throw a bunch of stuff in the luggage, in the trunk, go 1.5 miles in 20 minutes for 20 cents. Now, if you don't have gasoline, and you try to bargain with a guy with a horse-drawn cart or someone coming by with a bicycle, or maybe you're lucky enough to have a rickshaw, said, excuse me, would any of you like to take me 1.5 miles, me and my friends, 1.5 miles for 20 cents? Those people would laugh at you. So I would think that we would need to get oil prices up to, $5 a cup, some number that starts to equate with what we actually spend readily on a lot of things that aren't nearly as valuable and also aren't non-renewable.
The people in the third world countries cannot understand why, for instance, the Europeans, they tried their best in conservation measures, in taxation measures, and the Americans are not doing it.
Not 1 in 50, not 1 in 100 of the people in our country have any inkling of the potential problem that we're facing. If we wait until peak oil to start making the transition, there will be very serious economic consequences. If we anticipate it by 10 years, there will be meaningful economic consequences. To have no economic consequences, you need to anticipate it by 20 years. I'm almost dead certain we don't have 20 years. I don't think we have 10 years. I think we're pretty much there.
Thank you all for coming. Please be seated. Lay the facts out for everybody to see.
I don't think the people in positions to tell the public about it from an official standpoint have been totally honest with us about the problem.
The person who will win an election is somebody who can most persuasively lie to the population, which is tell them what they want to hear, which is that the future is going to be great, just follow me.
If our energy resources are properly developed, they can fulfill our energy requirement for centuries to come. What is needed now is decisive and responsible action to increase our energy supplies, action which takes into account the needs of our economy, of our environment, and of our national security.
In ancient Greece, the person who brought bad news was executed, and politicians who bring bad news frequently are not reelected.
our political system is just controlled by major corporations. The steps we need to take to reasonably address this in some type of rational way require a downscaling. So if you're the CEO of a big company, are you going to contribute money to the politician who says, hey, I want to slow down the economy, I want to sell fewer cars, because we want people to drive less, and that'll cause, their cars won't need to be maintained as much. That will shrink the automotive manufacturing sector, which will shrink the entire economy. Nobody's going to vote for that. I don't even know if I'd vote for that.
More than any other country in the world, America is a nation on wheels. The automobile and the power behind it have been major factors in the growth of our country. We can drive anywhere we want to, at any time, for any reason, including fun.
We're in some ways a victim of our own success. Suburbia is in a lot of trouble because the whole model of suburbia is you commute 30, 40, 50 miles to your job and back. And that's only viable so long as you've got relatively cheap oil and gas.
It's not just that the country is spread out. We've evolved our cities for the use of cars. The cities would have to be rebuilt from scratch practically to have more efficient, usable public transportation. This is quite different than the cities in Europe, which were already basically in place before the car was invented. So yes, it's going to be a terrible blow to the United States when we no longer have the oil that we love so much.
Well, we have waited so long, and the three things that we need are now in very short supply. One of them is money, and in our country we don't worry about money. We just borrow it from our kids and our grandkids and accumulating a debt. But the other two things we can't borrow from our kids and our grandkids, and that's time and energy. In order to make energy available to invest and buy time, we have to have a very vigorous conservation program. Since the United States uses a fourth of all the world's oil, we clearly need to lead there.